Hello, 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 and welcome back to Bri Speaks podcast. I am your lovely host, Bri Speaks, and today we are talking about what is an awakening. What is an awakening? People keep talking about, oh, the Great Awakening, or oh, stay woke. Are they related? Is too woke? Is too woke a thing? No, it's not. It's the answer. Um, we will get into that. What is an awakening? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What are the benefits? What are the drawbacks? And how can you have an awakening if that is what you seek? All here today on Bri Speaks. So let's dig in. So, what is an awakening? I feel like before I tell you what an awakening is, I do have to start with what. What does it mean to be asleep? You can't wake up if you're not asleep, right? So, what is it to be asleep? If you are new here, I am Bri Speaks and I created the 6 narcissistic social hierarchies of control. So, if you're not new here, you're like, Bri, what does an awakening have to do with your 6 narcissistic social hierarchies of control? And so they are all connected. Here we go. So what does it mean to be asleep? To be asleep, it means to be indoctrinated into the narcissistic programming that is planet Earth. That is the 3D, if you will. What are your 6 narcissistic social hierarchies of control? My 6 narcissistic social hierarchies of control are patriarchy, which controls all of us through gender roles. It tells us according to the parts that are born out of your body. That is the identity that you will have throughout the remainder of your life, which is crazy. Capitalism tells us that you have to hoard resources, and then there are going to be haves and have-nots, and your value is particularly determined by how much you have or how much you don't have, even though the system itself inherently by its very existence creates classes of people, which means there will be ones that are above and there will be ones that are below. But if you are below, you are not unlucky, you are unworthy, you are unintelligent, you are invaluable, and it's your fault. Isn't that weird? How you gonna create a class of vulnerable people, and then whoever any hierarchy, here we are, creates by the very existence of a hierarchy, you create a vulnerable group of people. There is a bottom and there is a top. And the people who are at the bottom, no matter who you plug in at the bottom, no matter who, it doesn't matter, someone is going to be hurting. Someone is going to be hurting by the very existence of a hierarchy. Someone's going to be hurting. So anyways, demolish all hierarchies. Corporate America, it puts your value as based on your status, your title. If you're a shareholder, especially if you're a majority shareholder or like a voting shareholder or like a shareholder with a lot of shares, a lot of volume, you are seen as a more valuable person than someone who is unemployed. If you are unemployed here in America, why are you even breathing? Why are you even breathing? You should not exist. What is rest? You're not allowed to rest. Yeah, this world was created with abundance in mind, and all of the no other animal on this planet Earth has to work for wealth or for money. They just get to work for their food. They get their food, they eat, and then they get to rest the rest of the day. Yeah, sure, that's everyone else. But here, if you are not working for another human being, you're worthless. Because that's what it is. Like, even if you're a business owner, you're creating like a thing for other people to buy. You're still creating a a product for other people to buy, a service for other people to buy, a good for other people to buy. So you're still working for other people, even if that other people pays you directly versus paying someone else who pays you. You're still working for other people. You're not working to go get your own lunch. You're not working directly to go get your own, to go pick your own apples, to go pick your own oranges, to go pick your own mangoes. You're not doing any of that directly for yourself. So you're not working for yourself. You're working for someone else. See what I'm saying? Okay. So racism controls people by race. Obviously, telling people if you have less melanin, you are better. If you have more melanin, you're worse, which is the wildest thing in the world because most people have melanin. Like 85% of the people on planet Earth have more melanin than not. And so just for these few people to be like, nah, if you have less melanin, you are better. Nuts, crazy. But it also teaches that to everybody else. It teaches everyone on planet Earth that if you have less melanin, you are better. If you have more melanin, you are worse. Crazy. And then Abrahamic religions, they control us by our morality. Two things. It tells us that God lives outside of us and that we don't have God inside of us and we can't access God without going through this Bible, this book, going through other people, your priest, you have to ask someone else for power. You have to ask someone else for permission. You have to ask someone else for wisdom and guidance instead of digging inside, digging in, turning all of your thoughts into yourself and figuring out what it is that you deeply, truly desire and want out of your heart. No, you can't do that. You can just listen to me in this book. Okay. And then ableism is controlling everyone by measuring them on their mental and physical capacity to work, saying that, oh, if you are an able-bodied person, 2 arms, 2 legs, with 10 toes, 10 fingers, 2 eyes, you're good to go. And if you think exactly like me, if you think exactly the way I tell you to think, if you think the way that is neurotypical and I'm going to label that as the norm, and that norm is going to be what you're going to be measured against, if you don't think like that, even though it's just the way that I think, then you are weird, even though they're the weird ones for having only one perspective. You got white people are the only people who think from a singular perspective. Literally every other culture on planet Earth before the European descended folks conquered the world, everyone else thought from the perspective of the collective, perspective of nature, of us and nature being one. We are nature, nature is one. We are all one. We like the fact that they feel like that human beings are not an animal like the rest of it. And we developed language, sure, but it was to our detriment. It was to our detriment because before we had language, we did sign language, or we did more like body language. Like 80, even right now, even right now, as I talk these words out of my mouth, 85%, I think it's 85%, or maybe 90 or 8, somewhere between 80 to 90% of all communication is body language. Like I can say these words, but these words are resonating with you, and you understand that I believe in my words and these are true words, and that these words are consistent, like things that I'm saying because of the body language that I am. See, this is me showing body language of me giving you these words. Like we still talk through sign language. We still use our body to communicate messages. Like if I'm like sitting like this is communicating, I am relaxed, I'm chilling. I'm like, do I even want to be here? Versus if I sit up straight, it's like, oh, okay, you understand. I'm giving you my full attention. And then if I'm like this, and it's just like, okay, you can understand. Like that's, that feels too intense. That's the communicating. Those are I'm communicating energy to you, and you are receiving it, interpreting it, and then using it for application for the next thing that you want to do. So we never needed words. The only thing words allowed us to do were to disconnect our I don't know how to explain it, but like the words allowed us to lie. It's the long story short. It allowed us to lie. It allowed us to lie. It allowed us to disconnect our bodies from the information that we were sharing. And our bodies, it's much harder to make your body lie than it is to, use to make your words lie. And it's even easier to write down a lie. That's why we have all these catfish. This is why, like, when you can just write a lie and be completely disconnected from the things you're saying, it's much easier to lie. When you have to talk, it is harder to lie by talking, but it's still easier than having to make your body lie. Making your body lie that's tough. That's tough. That is tough. So anyways, how did I get here? Anyway, these people, this system measures you, measures your value, based on your ability to do what they say, It's essentially like to use your body and your mind and your words to do what they say. If you can do what they say very well, then you're good. If you can't do what they say, then they pathologize, and then you need medication. That reminds me of back in the enslavement times, there was white people, they created a pathology. They just love and then that makes me think of Trump derangement syndrome as well. Another pathology. A narcissist loves, ooh, y'all, I'm getting downloads in real time. A narcissist loves to pathologize or otherize or demonize in a very heinous way people not enjoying their mistreatment. That's all I'm saying. In the slavery times, there was a pathology, a disease. Like if a Black person wanted to run away, or if a Black person tried to run away, they were diagnosed with like essentially slave derangement syndrome. Is that essentially what it was? I don't know what the actual word is, and y'all can put in the comments. But it was essentially slave derangement syndrome, where they said, oh, if this enslaved Black person wants to run away or wants to be free, they're nuts, they're crazy, they have an issue up here, because why would they ever? You're a Black person, you are a slave, you're supposed to be a slave. How could you not want to be a slave? What's wrong with you? And it's just like, that is that is, I don't like humans are sovereign beings. We are all here on planet Earth to have our own experience, and to have a narcissistic person or narcissistic entity try to steal our experience, steal the joys and the pleasures from our experiences is so, that's evil. That is evil. They are stealing all of our good experiences that we could be having for their own selfish gain. It's like, it's like, what are they gaining? I just like, you're not even gaining anything. You're gaining control. That is all you're gaining. You're gaining control, but it's like, at what cost? When you could give control back to God, back to the universe, and live your life freely as a person, as a human, as an animal on this planet. You could just live as an animal on this planet, but no, they want to have control. They want to, white people want, not just white people. All right. I want to say narcissists, but I don't like saying narcissists, because when people think narcissist, the propaganda, the narcissistic programming has shown everyone that a narcissist is like, that a narcissist looks a certain way, and the narcissist looks like Trump. The narcissist looks like Epstein. The narcissist looks like Netanyahu. The narcissist looks like Musk. The narcissist looks like I said Huda from Love Island. The narcissist looks like a person who shows up in the public eye, and they are kind, and they are sweet, and they are charming, and they are funny, and then but behind closed doors, they are an evil demon person. Like, everyone wants like the Joker who is crazy all the time. Like, no, these people, well, they are crazy all the time, but you don't know it. They have perfected since childhood the art of being evil, the art of getting away with crime and criminal activity, the art of harming people, the art of manipulating people, the art of getting away with wrongdoing. These people have been perfecting it since they were children. And people want the evil guy to be so obvious, and the evil guy will never be obvious. So if you are under any of these programming, if you believe any of these things are real or good or true, or if you feel like, or if any of your behavior is in line with the things that these systems want, and it's in line with those things because of fear of, losing family, or losing friends, or losing community, or losing money, or losing status, or losing, all of those things are ego. All of those things are is created from a place of fear. All right. Anyways, if you believe in any of this crap, you are under a narcissistic program. You are running the narcissistic program. You are programmed, and I'm sorry to be the one to have to break that to you. And you have to do your due diligence to expand your level of awareness so that you can wake up. You will have an awakening once you realize all of these things are the same, and all of them are evil and bad for humanity. All right, so that is how. So if you believe in any of this stuff, you are asleep. And so how do you wake up? Because it is not enough to know it exists. Awakenings happen from a spiritual perspective. They happen from transformation. They happen from internal transformation. That is it. And all of narcissistic systems, all patriarchal systems, all these masculine energy systems, which again, I don't want to. There's so much. And I just wish I could say everything all at once. I wish I could give every little piece of information that I have in my brain to everyone all at once. And that, and you can, when you have an awakening, when you have your highest awakening, which we'll get there eventually once I stop running my mouth. And maybe I'll put a timestamp. I'll put a timestamp earlier from now to, skip to the awakening part. But yes, when you do have the highest level of awakening, you have this realization that everything is everywhere all at once, like that everything is everything, like that you are everything is you, the breath of life that God created, that is the life energy that flows through all living beings. It connects all of us in a way that once you know yourself, you know everything, and once you know everything, you know yourself, if that makes sense. Like when wise people, they can drop nuggets of like wisdom or nuggets of truth from that, that resonate so deeply, is because when they are completely aware, and you understand that everything is you and you is everything, you can say deep held truths, because everything is everything, and everything is you and you are everything. Again, it's hard to put words to that, but everything is a microcosm of something else. Because of that, you understand how everything works together. And so when you understand some things place in the larger grand scheme of the being, you understand it like fundamentally. I just wish I could give better words for that. And I will. But I have it's like I have this vision in my brain and I can't give it to you all. But it is the understanding that, like, the way that humans and bananas have like 90% the same DNA, like every piece of life is so closely connected. It's like what one thing is, it is a piece, like, okay, we have lungs. This is a good one. Okay, we have lungs, and that those lungs are a respiratory system to help us, circulate oxygen and breath. But then the world, right? But that is a small microcosm to the world, which has lungs, which are the trees, which do the same thing. But then if you zoom all the way in, you can have like a lung cell that does the same thing but at a different level. Yeah, so your levels of the a level, even sizes, like even the levels of awareness, they correspond with like the levels of like life. Every like when I like that's why my everything is everything all at once. I just can't, like, when you understand that deeply, everything in the world makes sense. And you understand that you are God in the way that God is everything. Like everything is like, because the way that these religions they make you think that God is this like I keep saying that God is this external thing. But when you realize that everything is everything, that includes God. God is, I can't explain it. Like God is life, and every one of us has life inside of us. And that life that permeates through humans and bugs and trees, and that consciousness, that how do you explain the metaphysical world? How do you explain that? And then once you really understand that everything is everything, then you understand how the planets come into it, because I can't explain it. And I want to so bad. I want to. I'm gonna get this. Everything works in layers. Everything is a microcosm of something else. Everything that functions is a smaller microcosm function of a bigger function of a bigger function. And everything works together as one. Everything is one. It's like you understand duality. Duality is the biggest thing. It's the biggest thing. When you awaken, you understand duality. You understand how to hold two big and opposing truths at once. Like we've been saying more and more often, two things can be true at once. But when you have your like, not say a true, I don't want to say a true awakening, because I don't want to diminish anyone's experience. And when you have a spiritual awakening, like when you get in touch with your highest self, which is God, which is but which is God. The story of Jesus is a good one. God came down as himself um to experience, because when you are in the spirit realm, everything the experience in the spirit realm is peace, it is love, it is it is the feeling of nothing, but that feeling of nothing is like the feeling of peace. It is like, I just can't emphasize that enough. When you listen to like all the near death experiences, when you listen to psychics, when you listen to anybody who is in touch with the spirit realm, everyone tells you, and including myself, that it is this feeling of just great and grand peace. So to be asleep is to be trapped in these narcissistic programs, trapped mind control, and being controlled by someone else other than yourself. Okay, so what is an awakening? I will share this screen. This is what's from Sophia Code Foundation. I can't verify who they are. I did look at this definition and I do like it. And spiritual awakening is a very ancient thing. It is a thing that every culture knew about before Europeans came and dominated the world, and then said that, oh no, all of your spiritual practice, they're backwards, even though we should all now know that their practices are backwards, and they are antithetical to nature, they're antithetical to life, they are antithetical to humans, which humans are life, right? So everything that is good for humans are good for animals, everything that's good for animals are good for humans, and vice versa, and nature. And it's like we are all the same stuff, enough. And so when we start thinking about ourselves as a whole collectives instead of as like, oh, races and countries and species, like when we just think of life is life, what is good for life? Is this good for life? Yes. If it's not good for life, no. Then we will understand who we were as the ancient peoples. Like again, this was like 10,000 years ago, but guess what? Humans have been on planet Earth for about 3 million years, to my understanding. Some people say 300,000 years, but even if it's 300,000 years or 3 million years, 10,000 years is a very, 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 very extremely small amount of time that we've been living the way that we live, and it's time to turn this ship around. It's time to turn this ship around and go like, and it's like, here's the thing, we can't ever go back to who we were. We've lived this experience of this life. And so humans as a species has fundamentally changed because of this last 10 to 12,000 years, but that doesn't mean that we can't grow. That does not mean that we can't grow as humans to remember who we were as a species, as an animal who was one with the other animals in planet Earth, to this new version of that same animal. We are a new version. This is a bad version. We got to stop this. And then we can go on to a better version once we get back in touch with the things that we knew. And so I was saying that to say, this is coming from Sophia Code, but I can't validate who they are or what they do or stand for. I do like the definition, so I'm gonna use it. But the definition of a spiritual awakening, there's no really one definition. Like different cultures will call it different things. Different cultures, like I've heard of some people call it a Kundalini awakening. Some people call it a moment of clarity. Some people call it just like a knowing. Some people call it clairvoyance. Some people call it intuition. Some people call it, it's just like, it's just like a growing intuition. It's just like different people will call this experience different things depending on what culture you're from, but it is truth. Like that is the one thing I want to get across. Like it's a truth. This is a thing that happens. There's no way that for 300,000 years we talked about stuff like this, we practiced stuff like this, and we worked with stuff like this, we knew stuff like this all across the world as a unanimous, as all and humans 300,000 years ago, they weren't very different from what we are now. They're not, people think 300,000 years ago, or even 10,000 years ago before, which is when this was, people think, I hope you don't think that humans evolved much in 10,000 years. 10,000 years is not a long time. In evolutionary standards, evolution needs millions of years. It needs millions of years for true evolution to come through a species, for a species to go from one thing to a different unrecognizable thing. That is a 1,000,000-year process. So 10,000 years, y'all, we are the same humans from 10,000 years ago that we are now. The same ones, no different. So these are all things that we knew 10,000 years ago, but that they have actively suppressed, like even right now, there's the 13 indigenous grandmas, I think is what they're called, which are like, it's one from, Native America, one from indigenous tribe of Australia, indigenous tribe of like Hawaii, like India, China. Like the indigenous people are trying to hold these things true and try to keep this knowledge like around, but the West suppresses it so much because all of these things are antithetical to capitalism, antithetical to control, antithetical to narcissism, antithetical to power. It goes against everything they stand for. So of course they're going to suppress it. Of course they're going to try to tell you, don't believe that. Of course they're going to try to tell you this stuff is not true. It's like, don't look this way, look over there. Of course they're going to say that because all this stuff goes against what they want, and it actively stops it from happening. The more awake you are, then the less the programming works. The more awake you are, the less the programming cannot work. The more awareness you have, the programming does, like, that's why they get you as soon as you're a baby and they start, the programming begins immediately. They throw everything at us to separate us, to keep us busy, to keep us in survival mode, never seeing abundance, never seeing what the life could be, not saying what the life should be, never seeing that. And so that they can keep you at a lower level of awareness so that you can stay trapped. It is like, that is the whole point, is so that they can't control you. They keep you unaware and dumb. So anyways, what happens? This is what happens during a spiritual awakening. It is not just about self-improvement. It is a profound transformation of your consciousness, which is, I think, it is a profound transformation of your consciousness. And again, this is like, when you can think of it as like a white person going from a racist person, an ignorantly racist person. They don't know that they're racist, but then they wake up and they're just like, and they see the long line of racism that America has had all this time, and it all clicks and it all makes sense. And it's just like, and it's just like, that's a shift in their consciousness. That is, in that moment of time before that happened, they were one person, and then after that happened, they are a different person, because once you are awake, you can't go back to sleep. So it's just like, and I can say you can slip back into some bad habits, but you can't really ever go back to sleep. You can't unknow that America did all these things. You can maybe lie to yourself and say, "Oh no, I don't like believe that." But once you have an awakening, your consciousness, when you have a shift in consciousness, you become so aligned with your truth, with the truth that you know. It becomes very difficult to lie to yourself. It is once you are aware of the truth, you can't lie to yourself. I'm not saying very difficult. I'm like it's dang near impossible to lie to yourself once you have that shift, that transformation in your consciousness. So it expands your perception. So you like when you're in those hierarchies, it makes you have a very limited scope of who you can be, what you can do, what life is supposed to look like. You have a very like it's just I can't explain it other than limited and narrow. But when you have an awakening, when you have that shift in consciousness, it expands your perception. You realize I don't have to do these things this way. I don't have to be this person. I don't have to do this stuff. And then your perception of everything that is and everything that could be, it expands, it get bigger. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is what life could be. I could have done this whole time. It's like it's like I get like I know those are just noises, but it's just like I can't explain that feeling of like of being like of just like of awareness, that feeling of like, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe this, a feeling of awe, that feeling of like wow, of like looking over top of a mountain, like you're at the top of a mountain, you're looking over at a city. It's just like of that feeling of God. It is the feeling of God, of the feeling of being with God, of that feeling of being with God. It's like it's that I can't explain that, y'all. If you haven't had that feeling, you'll get there eventually. If you're watching this channel, I believe in you because like this is deep stuff, y'all. This is we're getting deeper and deeper the longer you stay around. So if you are even here, if you're on the channel, I'm sure you've had some sort of awakening in your life, some sort of moment of like so it dissolves limiting beliefs. We have this awakening. It dissolves limiting beliefs. So so, this is, Christianity is a great one. When people deconstruct from Christianity, they realize, they don't have to be a wife. They don't have to have a baby. They can be gay. They can, you can be trans. Like you can just like, it's just like everything that you thought you couldn't be, you realize you can. No one is stopping you but you, baby girl. No one is stopping you but you. And then you realigns with the higher truth of your divine nature. And so this is what I was saying, like you walk in your truth, you live in your truth, you do what is aligned with your truth. Whatever makes you unhappy, you do not do it because that is not aligned with your truth. When you wake up, you are awakened, you do not do things that are not to your own benefit, to your own pleasure, to your own joy. There's like, no, you can't make me, because you realize no one is controlling you but you. So you can't make me. I don't care what you say. You can't make me do nothing I don't want to do. Government. Well, I mean, hey, whatever. They have too much power, and that's the point. That's the problem. That's why they are able to control us. We don't, this is going to get real anarchist, which I don't like that word either, because it makes you feel like if you have no government, there's going to be nothing but chaos. And I'm like, in this world, the way that everyone's been narcissistically programmed, there probably will be some chaos if the government were to, collapse. But, but again, 10,000 years ago, before 10,000 years ago, we didn't need governments. We didn't need large entities of bodies of people controlling the resources. Everyone had access to the river. Everyone had access to the trees. Everyone had access to the bok choy. I love bok choy, y'all. Everyone had access to kale. Everyone had access to whatever resources Mother Earth gave everyone. Everyone had access to all all the resources. And so there was no need for like resource allocation or like, oh, let me gather up all the resources, I'll hold them and then I'll pass them out one by one. It's just like, no, everyone could just go get it whenever they wanted it. They could just go get it whenever they needed it. And no one hoarded, because hoarding always comes from a scarcity mentality. You hoard when you feel like there won't be more. I always say, whenever you go to a buffet, do you just take the whole entire tray of food back to your table, or do you get what you want, as much as you want, and then you go back to the table and then you come back for more if you want more after that? Or do you just take the whole thing to your table because you feel like there might not be no more? No, it's a buffet. It's all you can eat. You can get as much as you want for as much as you want. Like, it's just whenever there is abundance, you don't panic about scarcity. You don't panic about not having enough. And so then you don't hoard. You make sure you to save some for everybody else. That's it. And that's how it was when we had direct access to water, direct access to food, direct access to land. But they want you to think that when we had direct access to food, water, and land, that it was chaos. It was everyone was hoarding, everyone was everyone was unaliving everybody else. Like, no, that's stupid. That's stupid. We are the same humans we are today that we were 10,000 years ago. We are not like, we know more stuff about like technology, like how to create technology, but when it comes to our reasoning, our curiosity, our storytelling, like we are the same. We are the same people. We have not developed an extra gene. We have not developed, an extra appendage, like an extra finger, toe, hair, nothing. We are the same as we were 10,000 years ago. We're just doing stuff a stupid and dumb way because this is what Europeans have said is the right way to do it. And they use violence against us. And also, and then they brainwashed us with their religions, taking away our spiritual practices, and then violence against us if we didn't, or diseased us. Like, okay, yeah, they bullied us. That's fine. But now we can stand up and hit back. Now we can stand up and hit back. Cause it's like, what are we doing? Why, why are we suffering at the hands of these people when we know that everything that they're doing is wrong? Everything they're doing is wrong. Okay. So yes, dissolves your limiting beliefs. If you feel like that we can't change the world and the world can't be a better place, you have a limiting belief. You have a limiting belief. You have a limiting belief. And realigns with your true self. So you're being who you are, your most authentic self. Awakenings can be gentle and gradual. So I would say like evolution. Evolution happens slowly. Like it's like you can't point to a person 3 million years ago and be like, okay, that was a human, and then 3 million and one day later, it's like, okay, this is no this well that wasn't a human and now this is a human. It's like a gradual process, and it's just like you're not super sure at what point you went from who you used to be to who you are now, but you are changed. You are changed. And I had this. I feel like college is a great example of this. Like when you go into like when you graduate high school, and then when you come out of college, completely a different person, because you went through like an evolution, you went through a process, but you couldn't pinpoint one moment in time where you was just like, nah, that's when I changed. Sometimes you can, okay, right? Because the next thing is, so it can be gentle and gradual, like a whisper guiding you forward, or it can arrive as a sudden and intense shift. So sometimes it can happen. It's just like all at once. You're just like, oh my God, you could just wake up and be like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, I have some examples. I'll show you that too. But it says these awakenings are often, so it can be sudden and an intense shift, often triggered by life challenges. So if you're going through something very hard, this is a very common time for an awakening to happen. It's just like, because awakenings, again, they are transformation, but they don't happen spontaneously. They are like something, like, not to say something has to, but like something has to trigger it. There has to be something in your life that changes, be it your just actual awareness, like you have just like more knowledge, and that knowledge, something, it clicked inside of you, and now boom, you have the information, or like, someone passed away in your life, and then that deep loss made you grieve, and now that grief, all that pain, it transforms you into a new person. You come out the other side of all that grief and that pain as a new person, and so that can trigger an awakening. All of that, it is whenever you go through a large amount of emotion, and you live in that emotion, and you allow that emotion to happen, because when you suppress the emotion, that is the best way to never have an awakening. When you don't let the emotion happen, your body will never understand itself, and so it will never understand everything around it. Once you understand yourself, that is how you understand everything. It's like, because we are everything and everything is us. Like, I can't, when you get there, you'll get there, but you have to feel the pain, or the loss, or the joy, it's like whatever emotion it's going to be a big one, if you have the intent shift, or it could be a bunch of little emotions over time. So the sum of the emotions, like if I could put points on it, like the sum, if you need 100 emotion points to have an awakening, you can do that 100 emotion points over the course of 4 years in college, or you could do it all at once, when your grandpa died. Like, it could happen either way, but you have to accumulate this emotional, I would say, like, bank account. And then that once you get a certain threshold, and threshold is sorry, it is personalized to everyone. I said 100, like, emotional points. But 100 emotional points for me might look different for other than 100 emotional points to you. Again, God didn't make any two people the same. So whatever challenge you have to overcome to have your emotional awakening. And that challenge can be something like just admitting to yourself that I like girls or I like boys. Like, that is like, if you've all of your life, you've told yourself, no, I don't like boys. No, I don't like boys. No, I don't like men. No, I don't like men. And then one day you admit, okay, I do like, it can be like, not say as easy as that, because I know but that's extremely difficult. It takes an extremely large amount of emotional payment in order for you to have, in a way, like, it costs it costs emotional payment to have an awakening, but it's worth it. But that's the thing, I can tell you it is worth it. It is because when you are living under narcissistic programming, and I got this so when you're living under narcissistic programming, you are living in fear, is what I was going to say. And I got this tattoo when I was 18, y'all. This is before I knew anything about what an awakening was. But as I have it now, I'm so glad I got it. And I do think it was my higher self, like, telling me ahead of time the things I need to know. But it says, um, beyond fear lies freedom, is my tattoo. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. It says beyond fear lies freedom. And I got that before I knew anything about this stuff, but I knew deep in my gut that, this was after I got out of a narcissistic relationship, actually. I guess started me on my way to here I am now. But it was me being afraid to leave him and the woman, this family, this narcissistic family. I was so afraid. I was afraid of disappointing them, afraid of making them mad, afraid of losing them, afraid of all these things. Finally stopped being afraid of everything that they would feel and afraid of everything. And I finally was just like, I don't want to be here. I'm leaving. And then I was so free, y'all. I was so, like, obviously, whenever you leave an abusive relationship, you are the happiest you can ever be. Like, that's, you have a glow up. They've been talking about these divorce glow ups of these women whenever, they're in the marriage, and they're like kind of like dead-eyed and sad, and then after they leave their husbands, they're happy and they lose weight and they start glowing, all this stuff. Like an abusive relationship, it can look like anything. It can look like physical, it can look like spiritual, it can look like emotional, but no matter what, it takes from you and it drains, but you're afraid to leave for a number of narcissistic programming reasons. But once you leave, you will be free. Once you wake up from the fear, once you let the fear go, you will be free. And then you will have this spiritual awakening. So I would 100% say, after I left my son's father, that was probably my first awakening, but I didn't know that, and I wouldn't have called it that. And I wouldn't even say, nah, I felt it. I felt it, though. You feel it. You feel like a different person. I can't explain that enough. Like, you feel like a different person. Like, when they say people change, it is these profound transformations in consciousness that are changing. If you are with someone and they are getting on your nerves, and you say, oh, I want you to change, I want you to do this, and they say, yeah, I'm gonna change, they are never going to change unless, like, they have a shift in consciousness, unless they have a differentiated understanding of truth, of a new truth. They will not change. So if you have a husband and he has not been taking out the trash, you always want him to take out the trash, and he'll never take out the trash, or he'll never do whatever you're gonna do, like, you telling him to do it, it's not gonna make him do it. That's not, like, you, or if this man is if they're cheating and they cheat over and over again, you saying don't cheat on me, it's not gonna make him do it. If they just talking to women, or like, even just like, I'm like, what's another thing that's like, not like, there's nothing you can tell a person that, if they already know and then they do an action, you telling them that again is not going to make them no longer do the action. It's not going to make them change behavior. Behavior can only come from a shift in consciousness. Like, if they, and this is a bad example, but if he cheated and didn't know it would hurt you, which is silly, but then he realized that it did hurt you, or not even say, I wouldn't say how much. Nah, if he didn't know it would hurt you, like, you gave him permission and said, hey, it's sure, this is fine, and then he comes back and he did it, and then you're like hurt and devastated, and then that he sees you're hurt and devastated, and then that new knowledge will change his behavior if he cares. But if he knew cheating would hurt you and then he cheated anyway, saying cheating hurt me is not going to change his behavior. It's never, because, like, there was no shift in consciousness. He's the same person from before he cheated that he is after he cheated. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. There was no deep, profound shift in consciousness or awareness or nothing. It was just That's the same. That's the same NIGGA. So, anyways, the emotional bank account. You rack up enough coins, or another one says deep introspection or a calling for meaning beyond material success. So deep introspection. This is the one I like. I push. Like introspect. Look inside. Turn inside. Like if I could just, it is the one thing you cannot do for nobody is make them think about their own action. Is make them really introspect, make them question their own beliefs. You can't make them, like, you can give them information to try to like trigger their questioning of their own beliefs, but if they are in a narcissistic program like a Christianity, the program has given them answers for all of your not your questions, but like your you're debunking, like any rebuttal that you can give, the narcissist has usually already thought about that ahead of time. So you can give the victim information, but if that information is already headed off by the narcissist, like, so my example is always if the narcissist gets a new girlfriend, and the girl is like, and the narcissist will immediately go on the offense and saying like, yeah, I hate all my exes. They suck. They were mean to me. They abused me. They did all this stuff terrible. If you ever talk to them, they're going to say all these terrible things that I did. They're lying. They're liars. They're all the, they start projecting all of their own things that they are onto their exes. So that when the new girlfriend goes and she does finally meet one of those exes, and the ex is like, yeah, nah, he's crazy, girl. No, he's an awful person. No, he's abusive. The girl will say, oh yeah, he told me you would say that, and that's how I know you're lying, because he told me the truth right off the bat, and I believe him because he was your first mode of reference. So that is what the narcissistic system does. Like a religion, it tells you like, if I say like God is inside of us, or God is within each one of us, the Bible already has a scripture that says, you are not God and God is outside of you, and God is outside of you, and then anyone who says differently is like, a heretic and an awful person. Like it's like way ahead of you. Way ahead of you. Christians are not going to come to the light because of information that we give them. It's going to come through the experiences that they experience, and those experiences are going to go against the alignments inside their bodies. And when that misalignment happens, when Christianity takes them to the point where they are like unhappy or depressed, or they feel like this is not right, then they'll have this a big emotional trigger, or this big, this have this deep introspection, and then they will feel that shift in consciousness and have that awakening of like, this is all crap, this is all stupid. Like, it's not stupid, because it's not stupid. And again, a lot of the stories in the Bible are true. They have just been twisted and rewritten, or like given away in a narcissistic fashion to forward the narcissistic agenda. So I always like to preference that, like, the stories in the Bible are true, have some truth, come from truth, but the way that they are interpreted currently are in a narcissistic point of view. That's that. And then unexplainable inner knowing and heightened intuition. And this is my favoriteest part, if I'm being honest, is once you know that God lives inside of you and you understand how to talk to that God, your highest self, and you become connected to the consciousness that is the universe, you can start pulling information from the universe, and information like, again, you just have knowings. Like, you can't, because you understand, because you're connected to source, and source is connected to everything. You are connected to everything, and you understand that connection so much that whenever you are experiencing something, you understand it more immediately, because everything just clicks. Everything just clicks into place. And then even if it doesn't click, you still, because that feeling of this clicks, like, I get it, I know it, I just got, even when you don't have the words, or you can't really, even your brain can't explain it, you know the feeling of this is right, this is a knowing, this just came from source, this is a download. They know, if I can't give it words right now, I know I'm connected to everything that is, and everything that was, and everything that will be. And so I know I got this drop of knowledge from something beyond me. And so that knowing is true, and you don't have to question it, you don't have to doubt it. It's just like, oh, sometimes it's like, oh, I know exactly what this is. Thanks. Or sometimes like, I don't know what this is, but thank you. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna go with it. But so that's like, it's this unexplainable, sometimes unexplainable, sometimes it is explainable. But most, as I'm like trying to explain things and I'm failing, it's mostly unexplainable inner knowing and heightened intuition. Like you can just, when you can walk in a room and read the room. As someone who has always been a room reader, but who is now conscious of my levels of awareness and where I am in my life, I can tell you I've had a good read on a room, but like when you have I don't want to call it like the big spiritual awakening, but when you do deprogram all of the programs, like because again they can go down one at a time, but when you deprogram all of them and you're locked in, um, your your aura, the kids are saying like, or like big aura or aura farming or whatever, like your senses, they expand. Like I've always had a sensitive nose. I've been an emotionally intelligent person, but they are even higher. They are even higher. Like I can't explain that enough. When someone's looking at you, but now it's like, you can't explain it. It's all unexplainable. It's all unexplainable. But your spiritual connectedness, it gets bigger and it gets bigger and you can feel things from across the room. Like your sensitivity to the world is nuts. That has its drawbacks sometimes when you feel really drained from being in places with a whole lot of energy or a whole lot of negative energy. Oh, I do hate going in a place that has a ton of negative energy. It just, ooh, it feels gross. Like you can feel it. You can feel it. I don't know how to explain that, but like you can feel it on your aura. So anyways, that is that. And so as you awaken, you start to move beyond fear-based thinking and discover that your higher self is a powerful creator that can shape your daily reality through divinely guided creative intelligence. Yeah, that's what this is. This is a divinely guided creative intelligence that you're listening to right now. Inspired self-mastery, right? So you want to get better at things just because you want to get better at them, not because someone's telling you to, not because you're trying to get paid to do it, just because you feel inspired to master yourself in this way. So it's like it's easier to do the things you want. Like if you want to lose weight, even though weight loss journeys are also another kind of spiritual awakening, it's just like when you get this you transform. But anyways, that can go either way of good or bad essentially. But yeah, you have inspired self-mastery and you want to master yourself because when you're talking to your highest self is like the self that you want to be, the self that you envision yourself being, like the self that if I could be anything in the world, if I had an unlimited amount of opportunities and possibilities, if nothing was stopping me, but I just have to be alive. The only thing stopping me is not being alive, but as long as I'm alive, I can do this thing. You will have a higher self. You will have I have mastered myself version of you, and you will be aspiring to get to that version of you. And sometimes you will get there, and then you might not like it. You might like it, and it makes you want to do something else. Once you get there, you become aware of what else you can do. So it's just like as you keep going, you keep becoming more and more aware. It's like every time you hit a horizon, you can see a bigger horizon beyond. You just had to get to the first checkpoint. And so, yeah, you're always going to be looking towards your higher self to become that person and co-creation with the universe. And this is like what you feel on your inside is always going to come out on the outside. Like I can't, and this is like it's like, yeah, it's just like if you feel like everyone sucks, everyone's going to suck. Like if you like, and it's like, but it's because what you feel on the inside is how you perceive everything on the outside. So like the narcissist, they feel like everyone is out to get them. And they feel like everyone's sneaking and conniving, and they feel like they have to sneak and connive to do everything. Well, they feel like they have to sneak and connive to do everything, and they also feel like everyone else is doing it. But so it's like, I don't know, but you see what I'm saying? It's like because they feel like everyone else is sneaking and conniving, they start sneaking and conniving because they sneak and connive and think everyone else is sneaking and conniving. But it's just like all of that is coming from inside of them, and that inside of them is manifesting on the external of them. So they end up hanging out with more other narcissists because people who don't sneak and connive don't like being around people who sneak and connive. And so the narcissist will end up only around sneaking and conniving people because those are the people who stuck around, because those are the people who entertain that, because they too feel they have the same worldview. You're going to end up with people who have the same worldview as you, because that worldview. It attracts like what is inside of you is going to come out, and whatever it comes out, people will be drawn toward that thing. So that is you literally creating your own reality. You are creating your own reality. You can't. If you however you think about yourself, if you think that you are lazy, you're going to be lazy. If you think that you are dirty, you're going to be dirty. If you think that you don't exercise, you're not going to exercise, or don't like exercise, you're not going to exercise. Like the way they always tell you hypnosis is you essentially lying to yourself and saying, oh, I do like to get up early and go on runs in the morning. I do like to get up and go on runs in the morning. And that is like, but that's how you start co-creating your own reality. You have to become the person you want to be. And then guess what? You end up being the person that you wanted to be. By being the person you wanted to be, like you just do it. But the limiting beliefs make you feel like you need to do something else, or you need to go somewhere else, or you need all this stuff to become who you want to be. And all you got to do is just be it. There's nothing else to do but to be it. And then you will become it more slowly and surely. Like that reality will come to fruition. You just do it. And it's like, I know it's hard to do it, but it's hard to do it because you think you can't do it. It's hard to do it because you feel like it can't be done. It's hard to do it because you feel like it's a hard thing to do. Anyways, so I got a couple of examples of what an awakening looks like in real life, and I was like, I will share that if I can find it. Okay, so this first one is from the movie Soul. It's like a Disney Pixar movie, and it is about the journey of the soul. And I would recommend it to people. I think it's a good example of like the journey of the soul, like the way the Bible shows it. Again, they take things and they externalize it, they patriarchalize it, and they do make it all weird. But this movie, I think it did a good job of like showing our souls before we come into our mom's wombs, before we like come into the 3D, and then like when our soul has like essentially like a you make a contract with yourself before you come. Like you chose to come to Earth, believe it or not. I know, like, because listen, but what you're here doing, what you want to do is your soul telling you that's what you came here to do. So that's why I can't ever emphasize enough, like you're supposed to do what you want to do. Like whatever you want to do, you're supposed to be doing it, because the reason why you want to do it is because your soul wants to do it. I mean, your soul wants to do it because your soul has came to this earth to do that. Like you don't want to do things out of nowhere, unless you've been narcissistically programmed, which we all were. But like after you deconstruct all the programming, if I don't know why, but I wanted to be a softball pitcher my entire life. I don't know why. It was just there. And so I did everything I could to become a softball pitcher, and then I became a softball pitcher, and I still pitch on a semi-professional softball team today. It's just like, that was just like a want that I had. I wanted to write a book. I'm writing a book. It's just like, but like other people, they're going to want to be a dancer. They're going to want to be an artist. They're going to want to be a musician. They're going to want to be an astronaut. They're going to want to be a mathematician. They're going to want to be a lawyer. They're going to want to be a doctor. Other people are going to want to be a teacher, want to do different things. And that's because that is what their soul is telling them to do. So always do what you want to do. Like that is, I can't emphasize that enough. If you don't want to get married, you don't want to have a baby. Anyways, and so this is a scene from Soul where this particular soul, who is a hedge fund manager, he's in like this, like, seems like this, like, it's like the lost soul zone where people when people in the real world, this world, are, because remember, your soul is still connected to the spirit world, whether you think so or not. It certainly is. And so when you come into this physical world, and the people you're doing stuff that you don't want to do often and regularly, and it's making you sad, and it's putting you all in this dark space, like your soul is unhappy, and this is where addictions come in. This is where you get stuck in that, trapped in level 1, like level 1 of awareness. You're not aware of, you could do different things. You feel like you're just reacting to life. You're just going along with the program. You're just doing what everyone tells you to do. You get stuck in this place. This is the dark place. And so here's a video of an awakening from that state.
Poor fellow. Some people just can't let go of their own anxieties and obsessions, leaving them lost and disconnected from life, and this is the result.
Make a trade?
Looks like another hedge fund manager.
Now, to reconnect to your earthly body.
Whoa, that's me. Thank you. What am I doing with my life? I'm alive! I'm alive! Free yourself! It's beautiful!
Yeah, that was dramatic, but that was that was a cartoonistic version of it, but that is what it is. It's like you wake up and you're just like and you have this overwhelming realization that you are doing things that you don't have to be doing. You're doing things you don't want to be doing. You're doing things that you don't feel like you're supposed to be doing. You have a greater purpose in life and you're supposed to be doing that, but you're wasting your time doing this crap that the narcissistic program tells you to do. And so this guy, obviously being a hedge fund manager, was making millions of dollars, doing whatever he was doing at his little computer. But when he woke up, boom, that's it. Okay, so I have another clip that I wanted to show that I really liked. Okay, so the next clip I'm gonna show is a clip from Pulp Fiction, and the main character, Samuel Jackson, and his partner, they went to go do a job, which included pew-pewing some people, and the guys, they pew-pewed back, but although it was like a direct aiming, like a head-on shot, the enemies missed. I don't want to call them enemies, but because they're all doing bad stuff. But the guys that are not our main characters here, they miss. And so that led to Samuel Jackson, his name is Jules in this movie, having what he called a moment of clarity. Let's take a look.
Oh man, that's good. That's good, man. Your doc's starting to lighten up. You've been sitting there all serious and shit.
Man, I just been sitting here thinking
About what?
about the miracle we witnessed.
Miracle you witnessed. I witnessed a freak occurrence.
What is a miracle, Vincent?
The act of God.
And what's an act of God?
When God makes the impossible possible. But this morning, I don't think it qualifies.
Hey, Vincent, don't you see that shit don't matter? You're judging this shit the wrong way. I mean, it could be God stopped the bullets, or he changed Coke to Pepsi, he found my fucking car keys. You don't judge shit like this based on merit. Now, whether or not what we experienced was an according to Hoyle miracle is insignificant. But what is significant is I felt the touch of God. God got involved.
But why?
Well, that's what's fucking with me. I don't know why, but I can't go back to sleep.
You serious? You really thinking about quitting?
The life?
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Fuck. What you gonna do then?
Well, that's what I've been sitting here contemplating. First, I'm gonna deliver this case to Marcellus. Then, basically, I'm just gonna walk the earth.
What you mean walk the earth?
You know, like Caine in Kung Fu. Walk from place to place, meet people, get in adventures.
And how long do you intend to walk the earth?
Till God puts me where he wants me to be.
And what if you don't do that?
If it takes forever, then I'll walk forever.
So you decided to be a bum?
I'll just be Jules, Vincent. No more, no less.
No, Jules, you decided to be a bum. Just like all those pieces of shit out there who beg for change, who sleep in garbage bins, eat what I throw away. They got a name for that, Jules. It's called a bum. And without a job, a residence, or legal tender, that's what you're gonna be, man. You're gonna be a fucking bum.
Look, my friend, this is just where you and I differ.
Jules, look, what happened this morning, man, I agree, it was peculiar. But water into wine,
All shapes and sizes, Vincent.
Don't fucking talk to me that way, man.
If my answers frighten you, Vincent, then you should cease asking scary questions.
I'm gonna take a shit. Let me ask you something. When did you make this decision? When you were sitting there eating that muffin?
Well, yeah. I was sitting there eating my muffin and drinking my coffee and replaying the incident in my head when I had what alcoholics refer to as a moment of clarity.
Okay, I love that one. I love that one for so many reasons. It's like it gave a perfect example of how two people can experience the same thing, but one person will have a moment of clarity, awakening, something, but it won't impact the other person the same way. And that is because they are just they're on two different journeys. It's like you're going to awaken when you're supposed to awaken. So I will talk about how you can essentially like help yourself along, but it is not, it's going to happen when it got dang well pleased. This is like in God's timing. Like there's just, there are some things that are in our hands and there are some things that it is everything is you and you is the universe, but it's a co-creating the reality. There are things you can do to draw that reality forward, but the amount of time it'll take, the amount of energy it'll take, the amount of emotional tokens it'll take is going to differ from person to person. And again, that experience for Jules, Samuel Jackson, that gave him just the amount of emotional tokens that he needed to have that awakening, that moment of clarity. Whereas the other character, his emotional bank is probably empty. No offense, he a white guy. White people, their emotional banks are very narcissistically programmed. They are very programmed. And the more programmed you are, the more awakenings you have to have, which is like the more emotional points you need. But the way the programming works is it makes you suppress your emotions. It makes you not question anything. It makes you accept control. Like it does everything in its power to stay in power, because it gets to take your power as long as it is controlling you. And white people they're deep. They've got all the programs. They got all the programs running on them. And so they are starting from way behind, but everyone else in the world, we are less programmed just by the very nature that the program was created by white people, and white people are the ideal in the program. And so the program is going to impact them more. And it's easier for us to see the truth because we are not so deep in it. So I like that part of it. It's like showing two people having the same experience, but one having an awakening and one not. I also liked the part where I like so many parts of it. So the next part I liked was that the white guy started speaking from places of fear, speaking from places of fear, like, oh, you're going to be a bum. That's what a bum is called. And then Jules was like, I will be just Jules. And that's like when you have an awakening, it is just the urge to exist. It is just the urge to exist. It is like you like to not to be a sister, a mom, a caretaker, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a wife, a husband, a daughter, a dog. Like you don't want all of these titles on you, because each title comes with this random responsibility. Not random, but like it comes with all this expectation that comes with that title. And we're just souls having a physical experience, and all these titles are to control our souls, to control us. He started like basically putting the fear of, if you don't do what the narcissistic system tells you to do, your value will lessen. You will be worth less. You will not be seen as valuable. You will be seen as a bum. You will be seen as nothing, worthless, if you just quit your job, which is what they were doing, to go exist, just to go exist. If you existing is not enough in a narcissistic system, in the patriarchy, in capitalism, existing is not enough. To Mother Nature, God created everything that is just to exist and experience its existence, and the ups and downs of it, the pleasures and the joys and some of the sadnesses. But we were not created to have to do just to work. We were not created to work to exist. We were created to exist and experience what it's like to exist and experience some of the work that comes with it. But we were not created to work in order to exist. It was just supposed to be you exist, and then while you exist, you happen to work. But when you have an awakening, you get back to that understanding of like, I am here to exist. I just want to be. I just want to be me. I just want to be who I am. I don't want to be anything that anyone wants me to be. I don't want to be anything that anyone expects me to be. I just want to be. I just want to be. That's it. And then the other thing I liked was that he was going to walk the earth, and he was going to walk the earth until he felt like God told him he was where he was supposed to be. And if he never got that message, he was just going to walk the earth forever. I just thought that was beautiful, because another part of an awakening is that peace. And so the second part of this definition here was according to, this Sophia code, which again, that is, I'm not, I mean, again, this description is fantastic, so it's probably great. But I don't know who these people are. But the path of awakening is a divine remembrance. And so it is a reclaim to your soul's sacred origin. So this is like you're connecting back to source, and you're remembering that we were supposed to live in community. You're remembering that we don't exist to serve. We don't exist to work. We don't exist to do all these things. And not only remember, but like remember and align with that. So, I'm currently unemployed, and I love it. I love it. I have to move in with my dad soon because I have no monies. But I am happier than I've ever been. I'd much rather I had 150K thousand job a year, and I'd rather live with my dad and help my dad like build his house than work another day in a corporate America cult setting ever again in my entire life. I would rather walk the earth as a bum than give away my sovereignty, which is this next one, to another entity ever again. And so when you have a path of awakening, it is an initiation into sovereignty. An initiation into sovereignty. That is the part that is the most important part. Let's look at the definition of sovereignty. It is supreme power or authority. It is the authority of a state or person, right, to govern itself or another state. Well, we're not governing other states, but it is the authority to govern yourself, a self-governing state. That is what sovereignty is. No one tells you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to do it, who to do it to, when to do it. No one tells you any of that but you. But you. All right, I'm sorry. That is sovereignty, and it is nice. It is nice. It is nice. It is, yeah, it's just being free from all the rules of the world, all the rules of society. And then it says, see, and this is a sacred passage guided by ascended masters who empower you to choose your highest path. See, here's where I'm just like, ascended masters. Well, I would never call myself an ascended master. That is, that's a label, that's a title. Then that comes with expectations, that comes with, responsibilities. And not to say, I'm trying to avoid responsibilities. But it comes with expectations that people will expect things out of you. But can you follow people who look like they are at peace with their life and are saying things that resonate with you? Yes. Do you need someone? No, you do not need anyone to have a spiritual awakening. Like you don't need anyone to do it. You got everything you need right inside of you. You got every single tool you need. All you need is a place to sit, some quiet time, and maybe a journal. Maybe a journal. Journals are good. We love journals. Journals make you slow down and think through what you really want, what you really feel, and it does help the process. Writing helps the process. Yeah, you don't need an ascended master's. Oh yeah, yeah. Here it is: deep introspection and or a calling for meaning beyond material success. When you have an awakening, I can't say always, right? But you typically have like you just when you understand that all this stuff is like fake, it's programming, it's brainwashing, like everything, all the crap that it is, you realize how little it's worth. You when you align yourself with your path and your destiny, it will come from a place that means more than money. You might make money while you're doing it. You might even want to make money while you're doing it. But while you're doing it you're not doing it for the money. You're doing it because you are living in your truth. You are living aligned with who you are. You're living in aligned with your higher self. And that might bring you some material success in this world, but that is not, you don't like you would do it for free, but you would do it for free. So that is that calling beyond material success. He's walking the earth, not because he makes plenty of money doing what he's doing. He and that guy, they make buckets of cash doing what they're doing. But it's one of those, none of those buckets of cash, they don't mean anything if it doesn't feed your spirit. Money can only feed the ego, really. Money only feeds the ego. It's a material, and it's nothing wrong with like, hey, well, no, it's something wrong with feeding the ego. You should never feed your ego. Don't feed your ego. Your ego it'll take you in a dark place real quick, real fast. It'll detach you from your spirit and your soul as quick as you can. And this is why all the billionaires have billions of money. They got buckets and buckets of cash, and they keep trying to usurp more because they are looking for the power in the wrong place. They are looking for power outside of them. And so they are literally vacuuming up all the power outside of them in the entire world, trying to gain power. But really the power lies inside of them, and they don't know it because they will never sit and introspect and never sit and figure out why they feel the way they feel, why they want what they want, why they're doing what they do, how what they're doing makes other people feel, how they're doing makes them feel. They'll never sit. A narcissist will never sit and contemplate their own and introspect. That's what it is. It's like it's introspect. They will never introspect on themselves, and for that reason, they are forever lost. They are forever lost. Well, maybe they're not. I'm not sure, but according to all like psychological science we have as of right now, once a narcissist, always a narcissist. Like they once they narc as a kid, they never not narc again. They don't come back. They disconnected from spirit. Once you're disconnected with spirit, I mean, in my mind, because I'm connected to spirit, I'm like, technically anyone can be healed. Can anyone be healed? I don't know. Duality says everything and all things and no things and non things. And so while it's like everything can be healed, there's also going to be some things that can't be healed. It's like, I know that. And then again, I know it sounds like two opposing truths. That means everything can't be healed. But no, but like everything can be healed. Everything can be healed. It's just maybe not in the way you thought, in the time frame that you thought. It like might be in the next life, right? Exactly. It's not going to necessarily be in this life. A narcissist will not be a narcissist, but they will be not a narcissist in the next life. So that's again, some things are beyond us in our physical form. So that one is beyond me. But as of what we know right now, a narc in the 3D is going to be a narc in the 3D, and so they will never heal. So don't wait up for them, or you will be stuck behind. Okay. Yeah, so that is why I liked Jules. And then I found this lovely woman on YouTube who I was like, oh, she's having an awakening. It was just like, it's like, once you see it, you can't really unsee it. And so I was just like, okay, let me highlight, like, so the other two are like actual curated movies, but like, this is a real person from this world that we're living in. And hey, you know, once you are connected to spirit, your ego dissolves, and so you don't want to claim anything because I don't want. It's like, 'cause that's ego. It's like, oh yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Like that's ego, and I'm just like, I can't know. I might not know. You never know. It's just like that's when I'm like, hey, whatever you take from this, you take from this. But from my experiences, from my understandings, from my things that I think that I know, this woman is going through an awakening, and here is what it looks like for like a real person.
Hey y'all, hey, this is Jaleisha Jones, and this is my channel, Black Woman Fly. If this is your first time here, hi, welcome. I am documenting in real time, taking a machete to my life, and choosing myself for the first time in 37 years, like fully choosing myself. 10 months ago, I took medical leave from my corporate job of 9 years, and then 7 months ago, I quit my corporate job with no backup plan. I asked my mom to move out after living with me for 9 years. 5 months ago, she moved out. And then after coming back from Lisbon, Portugal for my 37th birthday last October, I decided to sell my house. My house is currently under contract, and I sold my car last month. So I'm documenting this in real time. If this is something that fits your vibe, come. Okay? Now, this may be a hot topic. This may get some feathers fluffed. I don't know, and I don't care, but I want to talk about why being a caretaker is a trap, and that we should free ourselves. I'm freeing myself, and probably you should free yourself too after hearing this, okay? Because being a caretaker is really a beautiful thing, right? To be able to help your loved ones who brought you into the world, who be able to take care of them. It's a wonderful thing, right? But I also want to preface this by saying that it was a wonderful thing to me personally when there was more support. And when I say support, there was a community. Like if you're coming from the motherland, Africa, there isn't just mama and daddy. There is a family, there is a unit, and everyone supports taking care of the elderly. Everyone supports taking care of the family. If you go back into slavery times, if you go back, and I'm talking about being Black, y'all. If you go back into Jim Crow times, if you go back into civil rights, there was community. There wasn't just mama and daddy. There was grandmama and them, there was the neighbors, there was the people down the street, because we were a community. We had each other. Now it's everyone separates.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. What a lovely woman. I called her a young woman. She older than me, but she looks so young and so youthful, so full of life. And you can tell when someone, not to say one thing, I mean, Nah, people who are awakening or going through awakening, when they go with that post glow up, the post divorce glow up, like when you have light being poured into you from the great beyond, you just look good. You look bright. You look shiny. You look happy. That was like, that's what it looks like. It's like, it looks like a lot of dramatic change happening all at once. They feel like they have been entrapped, and then they now all of a sudden feel free. So remember the soul video of like him waking up from his hedge fund manager job and saying like, I'm free, or we're free, or something like that. Like whenever you have an awakening, like a big one, like again, I don't want to call it a true one because they are all true awakenings, but like the awakening, like when you are getting in touch with the spirit world awakening, because like you can awake from, again, the lower levels of consciousness. I'm gonna tag my levels of consciousness, but I go through them. But like these levels of consciousness, like unconscious awareness, subconscious awareness, conscious awareness, higher awareness. When you get into the like levels 4, 5, 6, and 7, again, there are some people say some cultures say 7, some cultures say 14, some cultures say, there are different cultures say different amounts, and then each of these are not actually like binary 1, 2, you're either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Like again, it's an evolution. So between levels 1 and 2 there's overlap, between levels 2 and 3 there's overlap, between levels 3 and 4 there's overlap, between levels 4 and 5 there's overlap, and then etc. So just keep all that in mind. This is a very fluid spectrum. And then different cultures, again, the general principle of all indigenous cultures is generally this, but it might show up a little bit differently. But the construct of getting to spirit, getting from this dimension, this physical realm, to the higher spirit realm, it's all the same. When I go over the 7 layers of awareness, the higher levels, they do get very difficult to put the English language to. So they are hard to explain, but I'll, do my best. So after you get past like the lower levels of being programmed, level 4, which is a higher awareness, you are in a state of connected to intuition, inner wisdom, and purpose. I feel like a lot of Black women just live here naturally. Like after we all dump our first I don't know, not necessarily baby father, but our first narcissistic boyfriend, baby father, and or husband, and we all realize like that was a bad situation. Unless we get stuck in that loop and we go back, any Black woman who makes it out of a bad relationship and doesn't go back into them, she has this. She has this. It's connected to intuition, inner wisdom, purpose, like that Black girl magic, if you will. That is, we have a higher state of awareness. And again, this is not necessarily because we are Black, although it has something to do with it as the culture, but because, where is it? Because racism makes us like the bottom. Any when you're in the hierarchy, when you're at the bottom of any of these social made up hierarchies, you have the unique ability to see everything above you. Because like all of us only look up. Looking up on these hierarchies is the default. We are always looking up. Because the hierarchy tells us to look up, it tells us to aspire to be what is above us. So we always pay attention to those who we think are higher than us. And so people who are at the bottoms of these hierarchies, we have the unique ability to see the bullshit, to see everything for what it is. Versus everyone else, they don't see everything. They just get to see from their point of view, and then look up. And so, when you're at the top, you're at the top. There's nowhere for you to look. So you think you are better than everyone else. You think you are the bee's knees. You think you are entitled. You're entitled. Like all that stuff. And so, Black women, I was saying, because we are at the bottom of the racial hierarchy, the patriarchal hierarchy, especially if we are LGBTQ Black person, we are forced into the bottom class of capitalists. Like we're at the bottoms of a lot of these social made up hierarchies. And so we are just pushed into a higher state of awareness very early because we have to, it's dangerous for us not to, because if you are unaware of the narcissist or the narcissistic danger around you, the narcissist will take advantage of you. It will take advantage of you. It will hurt you. It will harm you. It will exploit you if you are unaware of what's happening. And so because we are the most vulnerable population, we have to be extremely aware of what's happening, or we will be hurt, harmed, and exploited over and over again, viciously. Nothing good will come to us if we do not become intentionally aware of the systems around us. That's why I always say listen to Black women, because we know. All right, anyways. So traits, when you begin tuning into your higher self or soul guidance, there is a sense of synchronicity, divine timing, deeper truth, compassion, and inner peace increase. And so this is like when you really start accepting yourself for who you are and for who you are, not even just like who you want to be, but like for who you are. You start loving yourself when you choose yourself. That woman, she said she chose herself for the first time. There's another phrase that comes out of people who are going through some awakening is like, I am choosing myself, because you have to choose yourself in order to become aligned with yourself, which in order to awaken or level up, if you will, your consciousness. Okay. Yeah. So, and then examples of that looks like receiving spiritual downloads, feeling guided, awakening moments. So, like, you can have those small bursts of like those aha moments, is what people like to call them. Those small aha moments. Those are like small, like just a small version of an awakening. It's like a, like you can see, like you turn on your flashlight in a dark room. And so it's just like you saw everything and everything clicked for a second and then it kind of went dark again. But you remember seeing everything. So you're not completely awake. You're not like everything isn't lit up all the time for you, but like you start seeing more. Like your flashlight, it's turning on. You're in the dark and you're hitting it with a battery, and it's like click, and you like see stuff, and then like goes off. And it's like dang, it's just like dang, but I just saw that. I know what I saw. I know what I saw, and then you go click, 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 click. You hit it again, and then it turns on, and it's on for even longer, and you get to see more, and you see more detail, and you see, and then boom, your flashlight goes off again. Your flashlight goes off doesn't mean you went to sleep necessarily, but it's like you can't see everything as clearly as when you had that aha moment. But when you have an awakening, it's like the lights come on full blast and you see everything for what it is. No one can lie to you. No one can come and deceive you because you know the truth. The truth is in you. You are the truth. The truth is you. You are one with everything, and everything is one with you. And so you know everything, and everything knows you. And you know when you are being lied to and being taken for a effing fool. The last one I'll talk about is cosmic awareness, because I think with Jules from Pulp Fiction, with the banker, the hedge fund manager, and Soul, and then even with the young lady who woke up and is moving, and she, made her mom leave and she doesn't want to be a caretaker anymore. And I'm just like, choosing herself, shout out to her. There's still a higher level you can go. Like once you awaken in the, like I would say, in the 3D, in the earth, and you understand everything that is earth, and like that you are a sovereign being and that you can do what you want and you are a god in of yourself, and you can control the reality that is, and you create the reality that you have. Um, that is like that's like a 3D awakening. It's like you see everything that is in the 3D. I can't explain that, but if you want to connect back to spirit, like you feel the connected to source, but you don't know it necessarily. You're at a high level of awareness where you and spirit are like touching, but you're not conscious. You're not aware of the fact that all of that, of this emotion, of this clarity, all this understanding, this strong intuition, all of that, you're not aware that that's coming from source. You just have the knowing. You just know this is it. Like this is that. So then I would like to encourage people, because like that, even if you just get there, I personally, I'm a happy person, because you've already beat narcissism, you beat capitalism, you beat, you beat racism, you beat the game if you get to a high level 4. Again, these things shift in and out of each other, but like that last picture, high level 4, but that is where you can go further if you allow yourself to expand your mind even further. And that is like when you go into the spirit world, when you go into the metaphysical world, you can experience so much more than what can be seen and felt with your 5 senses. You have more than 5 senses. Let's just start there. Even just like the awareness of someone like looking at you, when you are not looking at them, that is a sense. But the Western world doesn't like to acknowledge senses that they cannot measure themselves. So because they cannot measure like intuition, because it's inside of you, they can't measure your connectedness with God, that you're with your own God, with your own higher self, because that's inside of you. Because the narcissist can't see it, they can't control it. And if they can't control it and see it, then then they ban it. It's banished. It's gone. It's naysay. So I was saying, so your other senses, activate, they get stronger, and you can like you can control them once you tap in with spirit. So this is where people, like, this is where psychics lives, right? This is where people who talk to animals, they can live here, because this is when, well, even though you can talk to animals even at the fore, but it's like to understand what's happening, to understand the spirit world, to understand that to have a cosmic awareness, understand that we are one with all, that expanded state. Like, you are so expanded, like one with all. Like I said, when I say that we are the smallest ant and we are the biggest planet, we are the biggest star, we are a human, we are a goat, we are, I can't like everything that we are is a manifestation of God, and everything is a manifestation of God. Like, I just don't want, I can't, right. And this is where the words, the words start going away. A good example of is, so in a movie, when they zoom in on something really like close, and then they start zooming out, and then they zoom out and it's the country, and then they zoom out and it's the planet, and then they zoom out and it's the stars, and it's the earth, and then it's the stars, and it's the sun, and then it's the solar system, and it's like the galaxy, the Milky Way. That is how I see everything. That is how I see everything. I can't explain that, but everything is like that. Every one thing you touch is one connected to everything in some sort of way, like be it a genetic ancestor, or like just like 4 degrees of separation in somehow way, like in every dimension, every plane of existence, we are all connected. And it's like the big tree of life, if you will. All the branches are connected to the same tree, but those roots are connected to the mycelium in the ground, which connects all the other trees, which helps fertilize the dirt, which helps grow other plants that the animals eat, and then we eat the animals, and then we die and we go into the ground, and then the fungus eats us, and then that go it's like everything is connected, but not only connected, but we are like the same way that inside of us, the cells are working together, and those cells work together to make an organ, and those organs work together to make a human, and or to make a organ system, and then those systems work together to make a human, and then the humans work together to make a city, and then the city works together to make a population, to make a town, and that's how it makes it work together. Like everything, I can't explain that enough. Like everything is connected, and everything is everything. And you get that once you get here. There are not good words for it, but you understand it. The illusion of separation fades. You feel interconnected with all life, nature, the universe. Ego dissolves. You don't have an ego. You're not to say you're not allowed to have an ego, but egos are what disconnect us from one another. When you feel like I am Black and they are Asian, so I can't talk to them, that's ego. That is you clinging on to an identity, and that identity comes with these expectations, and you are living by the expectations of the identity more than you are living by your own truth. So you're not necessarily not allowed to have an identity, but it's like, but ego dissolves. There's nothing that someone could say to me that like offends me, because being offended comes from ego. Someone can hurt your ego. Like, it's just, you don't have an ego once you get up here. It's just like, not to say live and let live, but it's like nothing, not to say nothing matters. It's just words. Okay. You're operating from love, right? And so if someone comes and tries to insult me, instead of being hurt, I'm like, I know, because I know that everything that comes out of someone is coming from a place deep inside of them, that if they are coming out spreading hate, that means they have a deep hatred of self. And that makes me feel sad for them, because as someone who has a deep love for self, everything that comes, well, not everything, but most things that come out of me come from a place of love. I'm still a human being. Hey. And so whenever I see someone not moving from a place of love, I just automatically know like they are trapped in the program, because our souls by themselves are love. Our souls by themselves are peace. Our souls by themselves are our continuity, our community, our together, our oneness. So whenever someone's trying to separate you and make you feel like, oh, you're different from this person, then that is ego. So yeah, in service, you want to help people. Everything you do, you just want to be in service of others, because it comes from love. It's like you love yourself. You want other people to love themselves too. And you want to help. You want to spread love. You want to spread goodness. Like, this is what humans are when there is no narcissistic programming, when there is no governments usurping power, when there's no scarcity, when there's no starvation, when it is just the human allowed to exist in abundance. This is who they are. They try to tell us that if we didn't have rules, we didn't have have government, we didn't have Christianity, we didn't have religions, we didn't have all these things telling us how to be moral, that we wouldn't know how to be moral. We wouldn't love each other. We wouldn't care for each other. And I'm telling everyone that the natural state of the human soul is a place of love and peace and just and happiness and like it's like everything that described that heaven is, that is the spirit realm. That is the spirit realm, and we are a piece of the spirit realm. Our soul comes from the spirit realm. If you take the spirit realm and then you like cut off a piece of it and then put it in a physical body, that is who we are. We are literally that. And so that our default state is that place of peace, is that place of love, is that place of harmony, is that place of service to one another, is that place of joy. That is our default. And then everything, this narcissistic programming makes us something else. Enlightenment, spiritual ecstasy. Oh, that's it's a funny word. Ego death. And then samadhi, which is another word for spiritual awakening, but just from a different culture. But it's all the same. It's all the same. We're all the same. We're all when you see the world, like when you realize we're all the same, and it's just all this crap is so stupid, y'all. You really can't unsee it. So, anyways, this was impossibly long. I thought my last one would be the longest, and here I am. So I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned something. If you did and you want to support, you can do so by sending anything that you feel like I am worth in your eyes, because it comes from you, at Bri Speaks 2 on Cash App, or you can support by buying one of my hoodies at free2adhd.com and using the code podcast to let me know you came from YouTube, and you'll get a discount on the best, most coziest, most lovingest hoodie in the world. And so that is that. And if you want my Venmo, because I have had a couple of Venmos, just let me know. Send me a message on TikTok. You can find me on TikTok at Bri.Speaks, and we can figure something out. I take all donations in any form or app. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that was helpful. I hope you learned something, and I hope that you dig into yourself. Dig into yourself and figure out who you are, what you want, journal it, write it down, think about it often. And hopefully one day you'll wake up and be like, pooh, the world is crazy. We can fix this. All right. I love you. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.